Hey, what's going on, everyone? Hope you're doing great and having an awesome day wherever you are. Today, we're talking about the latest Palia update, version 0.196, also known as the Fall Fantasy or the Spiritfest Spectacle update. This one's a big deal, and honestly, it's like the devs finally gave us something that hits that perfect mix of cozy, community-focused, and just enough new stuff to make you want to log in every day again. I've been playing around with it for a bit now, checking out the new systems, the quality of life tweaks, and of course, that seasonal event that's bringing all the spooky charm into Kalima Village. So let's just talk through it all. Like we're hanging out and chatting about what's new, what's good, what's kind of weird, and what's probably going to make your experience smoother, or at least more interesting. So first things first, the headline feature that everyone's talking about is the new character profile system. This might sound small at first, but trust me, it changes how you interact with people in the game. Before this, you could meet people, play with them, and have fun, but you didn't really have a way to learn much about them without chatting endlessly. Now you can actually check out someone's profile and see things like what gear they're wearing, their romance pins, skill levels, total player level, even their elemental type and how much their plot is worth. It's such a cool addition for those who like to compare builds or just appreciate the creativity of other players. And they were smart about privacy too. You can choose what's visible or not, which is great because not everyone wants their entire Palia life on display. There's also a tour plot button, which I love, because now if you see someone with a cool design or setup, you can literally go explore it without awkwardly messaging them or trying to find out where they live. It's those little touches that make the community feel more connected, but still respectful of boundaries. Now, the big gameplay changer in this update is without a doubt the new multiplayer ranching system. This one's been requested forever, and it's finally here in a really thoughtful way. You can now let your trusted friends help you manage your ranch. That means feeding, collecting, taking care of animals, and just helping to keep everything running smoothly while you're offline or doing something else. They added an editor permission option that lets you control who has access, so you're not just opening the gates to random players. It's a big step toward making Palia feel more like a living multiplayer world, instead of a bunch of solo players hanging out near each other. But what really surprised me is how they didn't just stop at giving you the option to share chores. They actually reworked how ranching functions under the hood to make it more rewarding and less stressful. Happiness decay, which used to be 5, is now reduced to 4, so your animals won't lose their good mood as quickly. That means you don't have to constantly check in just to keep production up. And speaking of production, the output limit went from 2 to 3, which is a 50% increase in what your animals can produce before they stop. It sounds like a small number change, but that's a big improvement for players who like farming at scale or who want to make ranching one of their main income sources. It also means you can focus on fewer animals, but still get good returns, which helps performance on big plots and makes things easier to manage. Another interesting tweak is that the new home timer for animals, basically how long they take to adjust to a new pen, was increased from 2 hours to 4 hours. At first, I thought that might be annoying, but actually it makes sense with the multiplayer setup. If you've got friends helping out, it keeps things fair and balanced instead of having people spam move animals around. They also added pen prioritization, which means you can set the order your pens get attention from helpers or friends. It's super convenient if you have different animals with different needs, or if you're trying to maximize output from a specific type. Of course, not everything in the ranch is shareable. There are still some special treats like the Immaculate Confection Biscuit or the Divine Donut that only the plot owner can use. That's actually good because it keeps some sense of ownership and reward for your own progress. But still, overall, it's such a refreshing change. It finally makes ranching feel like something you can do socially, not just another solo grind where you pop in, click on your animals, and leave. Now let's talk about the event that's got everyone back in the game, the Spiritfest Spectacle. The theme is basically a spooky celebration full of glowing lights, fun quests, and of course, exclusive rewards that you can only get during this period. The event brings back the Spooky Moon Store, which is filled with limited time items and bundles that really embrace that cozy Halloween aesthetic. We're talking about glowing pumpkins, themed decor, outfits, and even the chance to pick up a super cute, event-only lure that brings out the pumpkin Rockhopper critter. That one's honestly adorable. It's like someone took the normal Rockhopper and dressed it up for Halloween. It's only around during the event, like so. If you're a collector or you like decorating your plot with rare creatures, this is your time. And speaking of collectibles, there's also a brand new pet, Goobi. This little squishy slime pet is just the kind of weird cute that Palia fans love. It's available in in the premium store. And while some people might grumble about microtransactions, at least it's an optional aesthetic thing and not gameplay locked. The animation and design of Goobi are honestly top notch. It follows you around like this little jelly friend, and it adds a fun personality to your world. You can also register it under the handler's license, which ties it neatly into the game's existing pet system instead of making it some awkward, disconnected cosmetic. Now, beyond all the shiny new stuff, what really makes this update feel substantial are all the small fixes and tweaks they've rolled out. This is one of those patches where you can tell they've been listening to community feedback. A bunch of annoying bugs are gone. Things like missing ingredients showing up correctly in recipes, PAL snacks buffs finally working the way they were supposed to, and inventory issues on consoles being cleaned up. The devs also did some interface improvements, like fixing the currency tab and cleaning up visual glitches that made menus feel clunky. And while this patch adds a ton of features, it's also clear the devs know it's not perfect. They've been upfront about the known issues, like how some wallpaper placements can still bug out, or how spooky candles might not show a proper placement preview. It's nothing game-breaking, but it's good to see them acknowledging it instead of pretending it's flawless. It gives me hope that they'll push a small follow-up patch soon to iron out those last wrinkles. Something that stood out to me while playing after the update is how different the game feels in terms of pacing. Before, ranching was honestly kind of a chore. You had to log in regularly just to keep things from falling apart, and if you missed a day, your animals would be grumpy, unproductive, and it just felt punishing. Now, with the slower happiness decay and higher production limit, the game respects your time more. It feels more like a relaxing rhythm rather than a demanding checklist. And because you can share responsibilities with friends, there's less pressure to treat it like a second job. It's such a subtle but meaningful change in design philosophy. On top of that, the event decorations this time are honestly some of the best they've done yet. Hollow Grove, the limited time premium landscape, is available until early November, and it's got this moody, mystical vibe with dark greens, soft lighting, and that slight eerie undertone that makes it perfect for a fall-themed plot. If you're into aesthetic building, this is one of those landscapes you're going to regret missing out on. It's not just about the visuals either, it's how it changes the whole feeling of your home area. It feels like you've stepped into another part of the world, and that kind of environmental storytelling is what keeps Palia so special. And I gotta say, the seasonal loop in Palia is starting to really click. You can tell the developers are getting better at crafting these limited time experiences that give you just enough incentive to keep playing without overwhelming you. Spiritfest, for example, brings in its own quests, limited items, and event store, but it doesn't feel like a grind. It's more like, hey, here's some fun stuff to do, some cozy vibes to enjoy, and a few rare things to collect. It hits the exact tone a life sim event should have, something that feels rewarding without being exhausting. Now, community-wise, people are mostly positive about this update. A lot of players are calling it the most stable and balanced patch in months. Of course, there's always a handful of folks complaining about microtransactions or tiny bugs, but overall, it feels like the majority of the community is back and enjoying the game again.